wanted to change this ramp. You can see it's most of the bluing, a lot of the bluing is gone. It's just kind of dull looking and worn. Feel kind of lucky that I was able to find someone that made a brand new one. It looks great. I'm going to get this sticker off, eventually scan it and create a new one and put it back. It's underneath the bottom of this one, but should be able to access it once it's on the machine anyway, so I don't have to wait and install this piece. So we're going to go ahead and get this put in here. A couple little unique pieces here. This one, for instance. This one goes so this one goes in there just like that, into that little groove. Probably should have went to the trouble. There it goes. That rod just goes right in that groove it sticks in there, basically. Now I gotta tighten it down. You know what? Before we do that, let's not forget, we have to go through this piece. So yeah, no matter how good you are, you're good at missing stuff. It's okay. Just kind of hard sometimes to remember what order you've been in. That's why it's good to take pictures too, but this was a saw job, so didn't really feel that necessary. Sometimes I even do it on the small jobs, just depends, because I'm not perfect. So we're going to grab the back end, the big bolt, with this, my old friend, the tiny adjustable wrench. I've had this thing since forever. And it's always been good to me. There we go. That's in there. Get our screw holes to line up. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's one screw right here on this ramp, right down here. You pretty much, unless you've got a really good magnetic Phillips head, you kind of got to lift this thing up. It's so deep in there, there's no way to get it any other way. We're going to put all that down before we put the plastics down, or else it's a real pain in the butt to get to. So we got to get these little Phillips head screws in. Shouldn't be too big a deal for the most part. A lot of people might complain using power tools on these. Not a good idea, but it's okay. I just keep a loose grip on this thing whenever I'm using it, so when it torques down, it just kind of pulls out of my hand. If you hold it tight, of course, you're going to get the torque, but it's also very controllable, the speed. I go easy for the most part, especially when going into this wood. Just long enough to get it in the hole. Well, I missed. It's okay. Try again. It's such an odd spot, the angle you're having to go in. We will get it. There it is. I'm going to save this one for last because it's actually for the ramp. And whenever I'm putting a part in, like this one, I'll either just snug them up or just barely put them in, just long enough to get everything lined up. You don't want to tighten down at first because you may have to move this just a little bit, or any part that you're working with. I'm going to take a shot, and hopefully I won't end up having to fish this out. Well, what do you know? Alrighty. This one's not quite all the way down. Alright, that's definitely in now. Now I get the pleasure of putting the rest of this back together because so much has to come apart just to get this correct. All these plastics, now they have to be put back down there. Obviously, if I were working, I would get these loose, but the only way to do it is to solder them, desolder them, or take the switch off. Or you can possibly disconnect it below, but then you got to fish that all the way out. So just for the small job, not too worried about it. I'm gonna get this plastic in here. There we go. Oh, that didn't quite make it below the screws. 2 hands. There we go. Okay, these guys should line up pretty easy, you would think. You always say should because these don't always go the way you want them to, but that's okay. We just we work with it. Okay, not too tight on these. Well, that's not where it needs to be, obviously. It appears to be where it should be. Let's give that another try. You know what? That hole has wallowed out. It's not going to accept the screw. That's why we have contingencies. So the contingency is toothpicks. It's quite common for games for this wood to wallow out or strip out. Not a lot you can do about it as far as preventing. I mean, you can be careful. You saw that one stripped out before I even got into it, so not a lot to be done to prevent it at this point. What I like to do, it's a pretty common trick, is just snap you off a little bit of some toothpicks. Or it can be any wood. It doesn't have to be a toothpick, but toothpicks are nice because they're cheap, it's common, and I just keep a couple of them here in my tool tray. Alright, let's give them a little turn. You're just going slow, hold it easy. See? Just let it torque in your hand a little bit. You don't want to crack these plastics. The last thing, and the washer underneath. Essentially that washer is just going to hold this whole piece from sinking down lower than it's supposed to be. This is one of the situations where I just want to loosely get it on there. Get this hood cover, and this thing I do have plans trying to scan this sticker. I don't like this one. I've not been able to find one to purchase, so if anybody knows where those are, great, would love to hear from you. I'm just being really careful and slow. You don't want the screwdriver slipping off and scratching stuff, digging into your play field. All kinds of accidents that will set you back. Oh, see, and that's why you wait to tighten everything down. Broke my own rule. There we go. There we go. Let's go ahead and snug the rest of these back down. Okay. All back together. All right. So, new ramp is installed.